Chair lays out on third reading and final passage. Committee Substitute House Bill 33. Secretary will read the caption.
Committee Substitute House Bill 33 relating to active shooter incidents at primary and secondary school facilities.
Senator Gutierrez, for what purpose?
Just to speak on the bill.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, members, this is a good bill, good legislation. We've done good legislation on Uvalde. We haven't done enough. Senator Flores said a comment a second ago when I closed. He says failure is defined by failing to act. All of those cops failed to act. For an hour and 17 minutes, they failed to act. And I've done these speeches before with you, and I'm going to keep this one real short. When they finally went and got the shooter, kids were dragged out into the hallway by their limbs. Blood streaks in that hallway. Dragged out by their limbs. DPS troopers that failed those children on how to be able to care for them and how to be able to administer aid to them. There was failure at every level. Eva Morales died in a parking lot because there was so much traffic around that school. We had 400 different types of police officers out there. They couldn't get this poor teacher off of the parking lot. She died in that emergency vehicle. Xavier Lopez, a young boy, died on his way as he was airlifted. DPS they had 3 helicopters at the airport a mile away. They could have landed them on the school playground. And we could have saved some lives for kids that bled out. That didn't happen because of the failure of this agency and those others. When we talk about PIOs, we have to talk about the truth. Steve McCraw came into this room 30 days afterwards and told us the door didn't work. That wasn't true. It wasn't true. And that truth was was found out later. We were told by a report by San Marcos, this alert group, that the shooter could have been shot by a Uvalde PD. They were given this report, and within 12 hours they came out with a report. They were given the information by DPS, and it was Don McLaughlin who calls me up and says, "Senator, that's not true. That guy that he was almost going to shoot was the gym coach." A DPS trooper was going to shoot somebody, a Uvalde cop was going to shoot somebody, and they put his statement in there, and then in the second part of the statement, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that was the gym coach." And DPS failed to give us that information. DPS blamed a school teacher for putting a rock at the door. She removed that rock as she saw that gunman running in. We have to know what happened here, but we have to know that the agency that's supposed to protect us in this state woefully failed. And that's why we need pieces of legislation like this. They woefully failed these children on that day. And I hope they're listening. This is not an attack on Senator Flores. I think this is a fine piece of legislation. But under no certain terms should we have some Heroes Day story about law enforcement. I've seen hundreds of hours of those videos, and I've seen dead kids all over that room. And I saw when they took that gunman down. And I've heard cops throwing up on those videos. And I've seen those children dragged out, and I've seen those 13 children in the hallway crying for their mamas and their daddies. I've seen children thrown into a school bus, taken to the hospital, running over curbs, running through streets to try to get around the hundreds of police cars to take the living kids to the hospital. I've seen all of this. And this is a result of a tremendous failure, number one. But it was lie after lie after lie by the head of an agency. And he knew they were lies. And he knew he wasn't being truthful. And me and the good representative across the hall, we pointed those things out to the governor's office. And Senator Flores brought up one very fine example. A NIM kid who I had think the world of. And the representative, the then mayor, and I wrote a letter to the governor and said, can you have NIM kid do the relief for the community? Because you just gave $5 million to the district attorney's office and things aren't working out so well. We trust TDEM to do the job and to do it well together. So I'm sorry to rehash and relitigate this whole thing. But we need to do better on common sense gun safety solutions. We need to do better on how we take care of people after these things happen. We need to do better on victims' compensation funds. These families got $1,000 from the Attorney General's office. They got less money than any other mass shooting in the state. I don't know why that was. All of those things we uncovered. So this piece of legislation is fine and it's good. But let's not kid ourselves. Until we stop getting guns out of the hands of 18-year-olds, automatic assault rifles like this is going to happen again. Until we start holding law enforcement accountable in a real way, this is going to happen again. And no way, that teacher, by the way, we caused so much, that lie, and the death threats that she got in the days after from folks in Uvalde and around the world, they caused that woman not just physical paralysis, but mental paralysis. And that woman's not well, and for an entire week, she was the new villain until DPS said we made a mistake. That happened on day 5. That whole tragedy of Uvalde, Texas, went on for 2 years. 2 years. And we have still yet seen a report from the Department of Public Safety. We've seen the federal government. We've seen the city of Uvalde. But we've seen nothing from the Department of Public Safety. I've seen it all. You're welcome to come see it. I had to sign a non-disclosure to get a hard drive as big as my phone. I'm not crying about it anymore. I'm still a little bit mad. But I promise you, and sadly, this will happen again, no matter how many pieces of legislation we put up, until we begin to truly look at the root problems that are hurting us in this state on gun violence. Thank you, Senator Flores, for this bill, and thank you, members, for indulging me in this moment. And thank you, Mr. President.